what's going on with my hair. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome back to a 19-degree Tasmania. Slightly chilly again. So again, I think summer's done.
Yeah, well, as I've said before, it will change pretty quickly, as it tends to.
I like the cold anyway.
Autumn's my favourite time of year. Everything begins to die. Not really.
Aren't you morose first thing in the morning?
No, I'm going to be in a good mood today. After 1 hour and 14 minutes yesterday of bitching about everything, I'm going to try and be more positive.
Yeah.
Not for the sake of it, but...
I swear I'm bipolar when it comes to that kind of shit, because I don't remember it. I get to go, yeah, next, and go on.
In terms of something that's pissed you off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll stew on something for a little bit, and then it might come back, but in terms of, I'm just like, okay.
I have grudges that are 40 years old, and I'm 46.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm sure, like, if I had to make a list at the end for a purge, I could totally make a list. But, yeah.
My list has an index.
Yeah.
I've certainly got a top 5. But no, I'm a miserable, cynical bastard, and that is my charm.
Yeah. What was I going to say? But you make fun of me in the morning. You say I reboot. And I can't.
You reboot. But that's the nature of our relationship. Is that you possess a high degree of cynicism, but high for a relatively normal person. One, as I said, you're the smartest, sane person I know.
Thanks, I think, yeah.
It's not a backhanded comment at all, because I know smarter people than you, but they're fucking nuts.
Yeah. That's hot.
So, yes, but anyway, on you rebooting, because after a day of putting up with my bullshit, usually around after lunch, you've had jack of me. And by 7 or 8 o'clock, 1900, 2000 thereabouts, you look at me like, would you just fucking die? But every morning always. You wander in, carry a cup of coffee, smile on your face. Hello, husband. Hello, wife. You can almost hear the Windows 95. Oh no, the ding, 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 where it sort of comes back up again. You can hear you reboot. That's fine.
Every day's a new day, that kind of thing.
Again, at the risk of being a misogynist, which is kind of going to be partly the theme of this podcast, I think. It's like, but you also definitely are moody depending on the level of hormones in your system, the period of the month. Yeah. Which I've definitely pointed out to you on a couple of occasions, which has definitely needed a reboot before you've come back to me. It's just like, get that stupid app on your phone and mark down that you're in the cunty phase. But
again, I don't pay much attention to that either.
But how often do I put something out and I go, this is the day of your cycle, and you're going, fucking and then walk away. I generally get it right.
Because I was listening to something else yesterday, another one of my podcasts. I am not a typical female.
No.
No.
As I said, you're sane.
Well,
a lot of them aren't.
But they were talking about dieting and stuff. And they would, she was describing it. How women, mostly, women in general, not even my age, but just women and dieting, and she kept describing all these things, and I'm like, I've never done that, and I don't do that, and how they're just a slave to calorie counting, and they're always on a diet, and they're always doing this, and they're always doing that, and I'm like...
Yeah, if you're a skinny bitch that works as a model or an actress or something, absolutely.
But even I don't, like, I told you the other day, I don't weigh myself.
No.
Sometimes I should, but if my pants fit...
Didn't say anything.
Yeah. But just the
all the evil things that are running through.
I have done. Again, my high watermark was 86 kilos. I think I weighed at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit plump.
Leaving footprints
and then my
in dry cement.
Pardon?
Leaving footprints in dry cement.
And then my low watermark was when I came back from London. So I think I was like 60 kilos. I don't think I had 5 in front of it because Jesus.
Yeah, you should be in the early 60s.
Which I
because
normally
you're not
am.
that huge, and you usually go once you start pushing high 60s. Once you get to 68, you
feel it.
You hear in the background in the bathroom, you just I am a fat cunt. Like, yes, you are, dear. Get on the stairmaster.
Anyway.
But well, not that I can talk, but my
You're
diet
doing well.
is going okay. I said I need to get back into double figures. You're a fat bastard when you're like, oh wow, I only weigh 99 kilos, but I've still got a good 4 kilos to go before I can say that. So another half a sack of spuds.
So we've got plenty of salad and
Shavars.
shavars. I got out this morning.
Oh, again, thrilling.
Went wandering around the supermarket yesterday. There wasn't enough markdowns, so I've noticed that because I'm a frugal person.
She's worth millions.
There's definitely not. People are hovering, waiting for specials and markdowns and stuff. So,
Yeah.
which is fine.
Well,
I'm not. Well, I only did it once. I think it was with those shavars.
Are you doing the? But
I bought them all.
Good, even though the freezer's full. But again, it depends on what time are you going. You're going at a time of day when there's only other doctors' wives sort of hovering around the freezer section going, good God, I'm not paying that.
There's only... I don't go... There's no specific time, is what I'm saying. Because everyone, if you look, there's groups on Facebook with markdown things, blah, blah, and I'm a member of a couple of them. And people have tried to figure out when the time of day, but Coles and Woolies mix it up on purpose because otherwise you'll have all these people standing there just staring at you going, are you doing it?
It is funny when you see the guy with the markdown gun sort of wandering around and all the trail of, like the Pied Piper with all the children behind him going, oh, what's going to be, not cheap enough.
They do rounds of it now too.
Oh, definitely. You see,
so it slightly goes down and then it goes, same as Maya.
Well,
50,
the only
20.
stuff you bring home is something that's already got 7 stickers on it overlaid, where it's just gone from 10%, 20%, 30%, which is.
So yesterday I bought some markdown tomatoes for 50 cents and some coriander because again herbs are so expensive. $3 a thing for a little thing of herbs,
and most of them grow like weeds,
and they die immediately as soon as you walk out of the shop.
It's all garbage, the produce you get. Just the thing is, it's been in the fridge for 4 months, and then you bring it out, and then it comes for a travel home, and then it wilts and goes to crap before you've.
So I'm looking forward to having a garden. So that thing I was telling you, I bought a thing from a Facebook ad yesterday.
You've got no hope.
It says it's on its way from China, so we'll see.
No hope.
Anyway.
And it's going to be like
shit.
Are you sure it's a human-sized one? Like it's not for a dollhouse or something?
I'm not sure of anything, but it looked good and it got me. So we'll
so for the reader's benefit, or the reader, no one reads. No. For the listener's benefit, it's like a walk-in fenced garden bed sort of
thing with a compost thing built in.
Yeah, I don't know. It did show a human
in it
standing
I don't know if
near
it was
it or a midget. Somebody with very small hands.
It was a buy one get one free.
Yeah.
The shop was closing down or something. Like it was based in the States, but it's drop shipped from
China. If it's half as good as what it looks like in the pictures, I'll say, well, how many have they got left? 10 by 10.
So we'll see if it turns
for $50 US a piece. But
So anyway,
it's not going to turn up until next year anyway.
No, it's on a slow boat from China somewhere.
Yeah. Because $50 for this thing, and what does it weigh? What did it have its weight? That would be an interesting way of actually.
It was free shipping too. That's why I'm like, all right, sold.
How big it is. If it weighs 1.2 kilos, it's like,
Yeah, no, I don't think it said. And it's from some weird business. I think I've just given $50 to the ether. But tracking number and the courier's wonton. I don't know.
It's a racist stereotype couriers.
China Post.
China Post is fine. China Post is better than Australia Post.
Tracking.
Wonton couriers.
Spins, so we'll see. But yeah, I don't know. But if it turns up, it'll be great. It's bright white though. You'll see me from the face of the sun.
What other companies does Wonton couriers own?
I don't know. Anywho.
Fried rice, travel holidays.
Anyway, enough about my shit. What have you got going on? I'm an eclectic person.
So anyway, no, as I said, I wasn't going to whinge and bitch because again, just an hour and a quarter yesterday of just
complaint department.
Yeah, the complaint department Mark III. But as I said, I'm a cynic and things annoy me, so that's the whole point of it. So what I did see yesterday, and part of what we said, oh God, I'm going to have to mention that on the podcast, was a friend of mine that is now a councillor in the Hobart City Council.
I am listening.
That friend and colleague, close personal acquaintance, but for the record, for when they clip this and use it against us, we run, in inverted commas, an association together, where I'm the treasurer and she's the president for the Residential Landlords Association in Tasmania, which basically requires my massive input is basically every time some money has to be spent, I say yes or no. That's about it. And turn up
because there wasn't one.
Yeah, well, you need one. So that's basically the beginning and end of my involvement, Your Honour.
There wasn't an association, is what I'm saying.
Oh,
it
right.
started during COVID.
Yes, it started during COVID when the state was essentially seizing assets.
Yeah, from landlords and property owners, and the tenants' union's been here for.
Yeah, and it was definitely lopsided. So the tenants' union is funded.
To the tune of
hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and basically acts as a small, what would you call it, specialist legal aid service for tenants,
and lobby group,
and a big lobby group. And with all due respect, they seem to, no matter like all bloody lawyers, where they act like their client has done no wrong and isn't capable of it, despite all physical evidence to the contrary.
Let's ignore the rap sheet as long as my arm. But did they or did they not do this to do with their house?
Yeah. So, as you well know, counsel, Shylie did some law at uni. That that's the sort of shit that comes up in sentencing, not in actually in the prosecution.
Okay, sorry, I apologise. Let's ignore the evidence in front of me on this particular case and just go, oh, they're a darling. They're a darling.
But that's how it works. But anyway, I'm happy to report that I've faced our tenants' union at bar on several occasions.
Which one? There was a bit of staff turnover there.
There was a little bit of staff turnover. Yeah. I think I went through 4 lawyers in just one case.
Because you have to find the right kind of ideologue to get that position correct.
I don't know, but I definitely spoke to one of them, who shall remain nameless, like the old joke, I'm not at liberty to divulge her name. Yeah, I definitely she was pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
And she was willing to do a bit of a secret handshake and go, hey, off the record, and go, and where I was basically saying, this isn't going to end well. Like, this person is having a breakdown, and whether it was drug-induced or just mentally.
You have a duty of care to your client. Your client is currently standing in front of me, and she is clearly not well. Do you want to do something, or do I need to call someone? Yeah,
because if you don't start telling this person that they do need to go, they're going to get dragged out by the hair. And
that happened anyway.
She
ended up wandering the street. Remember? The cop
and trying to commit suicide.
Yeah, trying to jump into traffic.
And it was like, well, you're going to need to do something about that.
I think she's not right in the head.
Yeah. Well, that's what I said to the police in the end. I said, hi guys, I need a hand here, and they're going, oh, we're very busy. And I said, I understand that, but either way, you're coming here. You can come here now and deal with a living, breathing human, or you can come here in an hour and you're going to need a mop and a bucket.
Yeah.
So, and they went, oh, okay, I hear what you're saying. I said, I'm not being a prick, but like,
yeah,
like she's walking around singing to herself with a knife,
and stepping into traffic,
and then later on stepping into traffic. After they removed her. So, I've forgotten to do caffeine again. Anyway, but we digress. But that is.
You need to write yourself a list. See.
Well, activate indefinitely. Spend the watts. Anyway, so yes, I get off the subject there a little bit. So yes, anyway, so
Hobart City Council you made me watch last night.
Yeah, so we
Me dead.
what a,
What a joy.
what a hive of green leftiness. All I get out of that is I can't imagine Launceston City Council being much better, really, but...
The question I asked you last night, I think, is where you're going. There's no video for Launceston City Council.
Yeah,
There's
which
video in Hobart, and I said to you, why are they just showboating and grandstanding?
Is it like question time?
Yeah.
It's idiot hour.
Yeah.
So that might have something to do with it, and that might be the reason. I mean, the reason that Launceston City Council might not have footage might be as innocuous as we haven't set up cameras here and haven't done that, or it might be we don't want to, and okay, or it might be, as you say, it might be putting cameras in just makes the whole thing performative. I don't know. I think if they want people to watch it, I think video is better, and I think come on guys, we can all be grown up enough to be on camera and not carry on like a complete pork chop if necessary.
Is there paperwork for the Hobart one as well? I didn't actually see. You were just watching the video.
Oh yeah, there's
the agenda and minutes and all that kind of stuff.
And then they say a transcript comes later on. I'm sure they're still paying someone. You get an AI to do that in real time. Well, the transcript's already there on bloody Google, isn't it? On
YouTube.
YouTube, yeah. So
you used to have to do that yourself, but that does it automatically now. I sat there and done that for a job many years ago.
Yeah, well, I'm just...
That was fun.
One of my... Not to complain about Tasmania, but yes, there's Soviet era full employment policy that's down here.
Yeah, put your headphones on and off you go. But yeah, wow. And then the other question I asked you was, are local council people affiliated with political groups now? More and more. Because one of them's a Greens person.
Yeah, actually that's been going on for a while. Certainly in councils, I think they... Look... To quote Yes Minister, local council may be a dunghill, but it grows beautiful flowers.
Where?
Well, that's the whole idea. It's the where you can learn politics,
right?
And sort of cut your teeth on a bit of argument.
Starter police.
Yeah, absolutely. And
right.
A lot of them do. Like to become a politician, you either become a politician's personal assistant. Like you're a staffer,
like Jackie Lambie's chick,
or you go and do some sort of grassroots thing. You get into local council and go from there. In the case of Sydney, they certainly did it like sort of 15, 20 years ago, like Liberal and Labor, and mostly I think it was mainly the Liberals to start with. I don't know. They certainly started getting associated with council elections a bit. I think if the federal or state political party is very popular at the time, well, you dress yourself up in those same colours and go, hey, I'm one of them. That would be part of it, and I'd also say the fact that certainly compared to Tasmania, as I've often said, that the city of Parramatta is bigger than this whole state. The city of Shoalhaven's bigger than this whole state. So you can be in charge of more people, more area. You can be in charge of some a fairly sizable budget and fiefdom, if one wanted.
Worse.
No, of course not, and that's why we're not in politics.
I don't thrive well in an environment like that.
So anyway, yes, I saw my colleague getting a bit of traction on social media, and then having a look and where they were putting up video of this other councillor calling her a clown and that was very performative. It's just like, he wants to be a Green so desperately that he might as well wear a bloody...
what he wants to be, but
dress
he's not
up like
doing
a leprechaun.
It well.
Yeah, well, again, young and new, and that's the whole point.
Young.
They make, comparatively these days, 35's the new 15. This is where they're supposed to
sleep at one point.
That was his, as he said elsewhere, that was him using his body language to show disdain. It's like where he's like, and rolling his eyes and carrying on. It's like, when you wonder why you got dogpiled on.
You're a child.
Later on, if you carry on like a kid, But the whole, it's just one of those things. You know, Louise has a point that she was voted on a platform of how about we just collect the bins and fill in the potholes, and that certainly resonated enough with the local electorate that they gave her a seat.
Well, as I said to you,
so of course she's going to be
why-
that's going to be her platform when she's in council.
I don't know what they do, but so every motion that's raised, do they have the same rigmarole that they go through, i.e. hours of bullshit, and every person gets their turn to stand up
I would
and
imagine so.
play the part of whatever the fuck they're elected to be and not even put a proper point forward, just ramble on about various other things that they think go towards the motion.
There's certainly
they
an
get to a
agenda.
vote at some point, because I didn't see a vote at any point, and I watched it for a good 45 minutes.
Yeah, we were jumping around a bit. Like, we were trying to listen to what each person had to say on it. So
That was only one motion too, and didn't you say the whole thing was 5 hours long?
yeah,
Jesus Christ.
but that motion that was argument. So anyway, the argument was,
Why can't you just vote?
yeah, well, yeah.
You've
Well,
got the information in front of you. Yay or nay? Hands up, hands down,
there
next.
was, yeah, and there was, there was time limits for things.
Yeah.
So they were
30 seconds. Yes. No.
It's not Fox News. You need a little bit longer than 30 seconds.
Why?
But yeah, well, like all it was it was all ideologically driven. But you saw that at the beginning. You sort of think, you know, they all have a. I can't even remember how she pronounced it, but the stupid pronunciation of Turkey.
Oh, absolutely.
And let's all have a minute's silence or something. And it's like, oh yeah, okay, it's all well and good, but. You know, after the welcome to the country, and then we have this, and then we, you know, I did find that funny though. I mean, that bullshit of pronouncing countries' names in their
They
thing.
can't even pronounce them.
It's
not English.
It's gonna stop at Mandarin, you know.
Yeah. Like, well, that was the other thing. So I heard that the other day on, it's probably ABC, but yeah, they were pronouncing Turkey, the natural spelling of it in Turkish, and then they'd go on and say the word, but the Turkish people, and I'm like, pretty sure it's not the same. Like, you can't just have one bit in the natural language and one not. So
Well, then for Cook a minute, there's also like the other thing that drives me mental is the like SBS, and it's fine because it's SBS. You know, that's well within their purview and their market. The special broadcasting service, it's supposed to be for
different languages.
For different languages and things like that. So that's fine. But you know, it did make the news where they were doing the
The
weather with traditional place names, and it's like these places wouldn't have had traditional place names because they weren't founded by our Aboriginal cousins. They were, you know, founded by us Whitey McWhite-Whites. And it just makes you look at it when they're discussing things like, I don't know what you're talking about. If you're, you know...
Language is really important.
Yeah.
And you're fucking with it.
Yeah. But it prevents you... But that's the whole point. Again, you must read 1984.
Get in your box. I've downloaded it.
You can't... If you simplify or change language, it changes thought. Like, you think in language... Like, that's what it's there for. And if you simplify language, you can't express complicated ideas. And I'm not saying that that's what's happening, but it's just like... Because I remember the first thing when you started seeing it on Twitter, where people put their location, they put in NARM, N-A-A-R-M.
Where's that?
Melbourne. And it's like...
Cool.
I don't know where that is. Which is, you know...
It's virtue signalling.
Yeah, whatever.
That's all it is.
He, him,
Have at it.
they, them...
But my point is, which language? Which language have you picked?
Oh, yeah.
Because there's, 50 different...
Oh, keep going. There's hundreds.
Native.
And they're all dead languages. The vast majority of them are dead languages. And again, bitch and whinge and moan all you like, but here's the thing. There's no mainstream speakers of it. There's no. And there's no one... Like, I mean,
it's weird.
Latin has much more...
I learned Latin at school.
Education around it, and it's written down
used.
and all those sort of things.
It's a dead language, but it's still used in science.
Yeah, and mathematics.
Maths and all that kind of stuff.
And law.
Law, that's what I mean. Like, it's still actually there.
And being extremely pretentious.
There is
That's certainly how I use it.
But yeah.
Yeah, anyway, but we get off topic. But yeah, so anyway, so it was just all we got out of looking at that was that, yeah, the motion was to, you know, maybe not have men in the women's change rooms. Maybe can women have a say on this? And
As
how
a woman,
about we?
yeah. How
and
about
how
we
about
stop
we?
trying to erase women? How about that?
And how about? I think that point of view is delicious. And if that's how it turns out to be, it's like, yay, men.
Yeah, go fuck yourself, man. This is some kind of.
I don't. It's just.
It's not, but it's.
It's narcissists. But that's the other thing.
Starting to get the shit, and I'm just a boring old white vanilla woman.
Look. Never attribute to malice that which can be adequately explained by ignorance. And my view with it all is, it's just the vast majority of it. Yep, there's a few activists in there. There's a few, you know, like a handful of activists in there. There's quite a few grifters.
Yeah.
Especially the ones that are you know, smashing it on TikTok and YouTube and all the rest of it. But the vast majority of it, there's just a whole bunch of confused humans, and they don't, and I don't think they mean any harm, but you know, like,
back to my t-shirt and my hat. You got nothing better to do with your time than navel gaze about your genitals.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care.
And everyone.
And stop trying to make me care, and stop shoving it into every single conversation that I have. Can you please?
Yeah.
And on a separate note,
getting a bit much.
As a female,
a cisgender female.
We only just got to a point where we're starting to get shit for females. Can we, like, now?
Oh, we've moved on.
Oh, fuck, apparently.
Well, the only other people that are getting it worse than women are legitimate gays.
Yes.
Like proper cocksuckers and muff divers.
Yeah.
Who have said, we finally got...
that man. What's his name? The one on
Andrew Sullivan.
Yes, Andrew Sullivan.
Like, we've finally gotten to the point where they're also getting widespread acceptance, and they're not being discriminated against, and then the other lot are discriminating against them. Oh, you're not the real gays and all the rest of it. Because that comes back to...
And you're not gay. There's no gay now for a lot of trans
activists.
Yeah,
they say...
You jump from one to the other.
I'm a lesbian in a man's body.
Yeah.
It's like...
And that's what his point was. Can we stop trying to tell children that they're not gay? They might be gay.
Stop trying to tell children anything. Just let them be. Like, you know, like everybody has a you know, a phase and all the rest of it, because that's what they're doing. Again, if it was some sort of grand, you know,
it's not the laser Jews.
Jewish space
Marjorie,
lasers.
It's not.
Marjorie, but if there was some... Oh, well, I was going to say some Klaus Schwab, you know, world government conspiracy.
The world
would be. Oh, you know, we'll get rid of the gays by
and women
by making them all get sexual reassignment surgery. So they're again.
Well, you've had a little bit of a dip into this world, remember?
With which?
You know someone who's young and decided that they were now male instead of female, and they're too young to decide. And
oh, right. Oh, okay. Well, that's where at the moment I'm going. Which one? Oh, that one. Yes, the one that's...
Is there more than one?
Yeah, absolutely. Like there was the historical one that I was talking about, a trans woman, so a bloke in a frock.
Oh, yes.
Back when they were still chucking them off the gap. Like, I mean, that's a guy with a set of balls.
Yeah.
Or a woman with a set of balls.
Slight segue. That's what Andrew Sullivan also says. You know, they had to fight and die.
Yeah, they literally fought and died.
Yeah, for gay rights.
Which doesn't. Yeah.
It doesn't lessen it or make it better, but
if you're confused now, but you know, it is what it is, and you can certainly you should. Well, I guess at very least you should afford them a certain respect.
Yes.
Which again, for those sorts of things, like again, it's just it isn't it funny? It very almost got to the point where, certainly after the gay marriage debate, we sort of got to the point where it all pretty much calmed down for about 9 seconds, and then, you know, to quote Chappelle, the T's and the Q's and the I's and everything started going against the G's and the L's. But that's the other thing. They always think them, like the fact that they treat them like one homogenous group. So they've got, like, gays and trans don't get on. Lesbians and gays kind of got on, because there was always a thing, there was like homosexuals were always, traditionally sort of men, and they've broadened the term, and then lesbians, like they tolerated each other at best. They don't have anything like, but by their very definition, they try to put them all into this one amorphous lump, and then they're all calling each other homophobes and
that's what makes me laugh as well. Oh, we're the kind people and the inclusive people,
and shreds.
They are so not.
Yeah,
only when it's about themselves.
The activists and things. Anyway, they
don't cut anyone else any slack.
No,
but you need to get my pronoun right, otherwise you're evil and you're a bad person.
But the few times that I've actually had that in the wild in me, it's just like, I don't give a fuck who or what you are, and please stop talking to me. And if you don't get out of my face soon, I'm going to fucking rearrange yours.
Yeah.
And
I know.
And it's like, that's where the rubber hits the road, sweetheart.
Yeah.
Go away.
Can we have a conversation not with gender in it?
And the hilarity of that is, it's just like, if you want to be a man, do you mean to treat you like one?
Well, that was the other thing, yeah.
Like, fuck. Anyway, so we digress and make it all very personal and anecdotal, but that's the whole point of this, I suppose. But anyway, so we got out of watching that on. So yes,
it's a cure for insomnia. That's all it is.
Yeah, pretty much. So anyway, so I saw that that a friend was getting a bit of traction there, and I don't know. I think mostly seemed to be more getting supporters than detractors. But then saw the guy that was carrying on like a pork chop, oh, my wife's crying and my children have been threatened and all the rest of it, and see no evidence of that. And but that's a part of the rough and tumble of social media these days. Like that.
Is this one of the counsellors?
Yeah, that if you don't,
you've put yourself in the public sphere.
Yeah, that's what happens.
You're not single. No. You've got a wife and kids. So guess what?
They're in it too.
They're all on the stage with you.
You and I had that discussion about this stupid podcast with more videos than subscribers. That's got to be a positive thing.
Jesus.
Yeah, no, it's so sad. I discussed it and said, if we do this, and we do this for a period of time just to have it as a bit of fun, what we say will come back and sit on our head. And are you cool with that? And we certainly thought about it for a few days to find out if we were before I did anything. And after a while, you gradually said, maybe.
Yeah, still TBA.
Yeah, and that's why I said, give me 100 episodes, and then we'll see what happens. See if it's worth doing. See if it becomes anything. But yes, anyway, so yeah, it just seemed obvious. So anyway, so all I got out of that really was that I can't believe how green lefty Hobart is, and if that's the case,
you're being very kind there. I'd say woke.
Oh yeah. Like, yeah, it was just ridiculous, and how unprofessional they were.
Oh yeah.
And like, so old mate,
I think your colleague was the most professional out of the lot.
Yeah. And
except for who was sitting up the top? So there was the
Lord Mayor,
and then
an
assistant, because she's not a lawyer, she pointed out specifically, and then I think that was the man was the typist, I think.
Stenographer. Or clerk. Yeah, I'm not sure.
They were all professional.
Relatively, yeah. Except, but professional, but woke as shit. Let's all have a minute's silence and let's have this. It's like,
did they have a welcome to country?
I skipped past it.
Oh God. But yeah, it's very unprofessional.
Yeah, but again, it's
slovenly.
Yeah, it's local council, and actual question time is a clown car as well. So that's the argument. Hey, have it all behind closed doors and have a 30-minute or a 1 hour question time.
Yeah, it was an open public gallery as well.
Yeah,
which was interesting.
So, but I don't think the thing should be done behind closed doors either. I think everyone, can you just
have
a period
in writing? How about that?
Well, I think they did. But anyway, so it just seemed, I couldn't believe. Yeah, I was surprised at how woke it was. So I'd be very interested for some homework to have a look at some other councils around here.
Normal?
And is that normal? Is that normal for councils? Does that explain the north-south divide? Like, if everyone up here... Because we certainly read the minutes for Launceston City Council, their last thing, and it seemed pretty nuts and bolts, pretty meat and two veg. Like, here's our agenda. we're talking about property
issues,
like we're basically talking about
subdivisions
and things like that, and councillors approving or disapproving. What are their views on that? And so it sort of seemed
questions, public questions,
which seemed around those sorts of things. So it seemed pretty straightforward.
And all wearing robes. Or is that just their photo for the day?
That's probably just their photo of when they all had their induction.
Anyway.
But on the face of it, our council certainly has the mayor and the deputy mayor would certainly, if I was going to take a punt on where they would sit on the political spectrum, they would probably be significantly more to the left than to the right. And that's just based on their
appearance.
But I don't know. I don't know. But so that would be interesting. So yep, I was surprised at how woke it was. I was surprised at how unprofessional it was in terms of the councillors all standing on their little tiny
boxes.
Bully pulpit. I found it hilarious that the Ryan chap who was the guy that was calling Louise a clown, crawling up that other woman's ass about thank you for your scientific background. I looked her up. None whatsoever.
Oh, he said we the science community.
Oh.
Does he have a scientific background?
He's a nurse.
Okay, great.
That's where the misogyny and the misandry sort of meet in me and go.
Is he gay too?
Be a man. He's got a family apparently.
Yeah.
So no.
He seems very interested.
Yeah.
The lady doth protest too much.
Well, again, it seems to be a yes. And
can't you just collect the fucking bins?
Just collect the bins, fill in some potholes, argue bitterly about someone's carport.
Subdivisions, yes. Airbnbs, go back to that. That's your other favourite, fucking Hobart Council.
That being said, that's another one of Louise's favourite things. But yeah, there's no doubt that she brought the motion, and because there was another guy, which was hilariously. I can't remember his name. Had a bit of a Colonel Sanders sort of feel about him.
That one or that one?
On the right hand side.
Oh, the one.
And he was older guy with a white beard, and he was just saying we shouldn't even be discussing this. It makes people anxious. And then that other idiot who was a Green, she definitely was a Green, so talking about her patients, all the rest. You're a fucking podiatrist. You're not curing cancer.
Well, the funny thing was, again, that was the one bit that I was watching. She read some letter out from one person, and I swear to God, I'm sitting there going, are you supporting or not this motion? Because what you're reading is supporting it. And then she got to the end and said, see, this is why we shouldn't be doing it. I'm like, I'm pretty sure the person that was writing to you, the trans person, said that they would be more comfortable if they had their own space.
So,
so you just twist it to whatever agenda that you're trying to push. So can we just vote and then move on?
It's just a hammer to beat people over the head with. And
then go and have everyone's going to talk about it on social media anyway, so I don't understand why you're wasting all this time debating it on a video.
They're not even debating it. They get up and they make a statement
and then they sit down. It's like...
Yeah. So...
And then someone had to go at Louise for saying that she puts all of her stuff in writing as press releases before she does things, and I'm like... Yeah, this is my position, and here it is.
Well, I think if you're actually, if you're actually ringing a press and say, "Hey, I'm about to drop this," and you do it, I don't think that's possibly. Of course not. But publishing, if you've got a blog or a thing, I don't know.
Every one of those councils would have a website.
Yeah, or most of them do. They certainly have a Hey Vote For Me website.
Yeah, and you go, this is my position on this is my position on that. Happy days.
Yeah, well, but these are the people like the good doctor who said, that this is problematic, and it's like that should be the new Godwin's law. As soon as you describe somebody,
this is the woman, the counsellor.
Yeah, as soon as you describe something or an argument as being problematic, you've lost the argument. Because as soon as you're saying that, you're just going, Look at this. We shouldn't even be discussing this. It's taboo. It's verboten. And it's like, no, you can discuss anything you want. Point? You'd think so. But anyway, so So for the benefit of the other counsellor, she is not a scientist. As a scientist, she's not a scientist.
None of them are.
She's a lawyer, and I'm sure she's a very good lawyer. But stood up there and twisted things around, and again, certainly wasn't very scholarly. It's like, oh, and this argument she put up, oh, well, that was a study done in the 70s, so of course it was biased because it was from the 70s. And it's like,
your bias is showing on your reference to bias.
Yeah, I mean, oh, the irony, and it's like,
did they actually vote on the motion?
Newton was a complete prick, but he still came up with the three laws of motion back in the 17th century, and it was perfectly good until Einstein came along, like...
I think I quoted Margaret Thatcher this morning, didn't I?
Yes.
Because I was like...
Well, that's our other...
Go and watch, I'm going to put a clip of this in, where she said... We're all based on feelings now.
Don't ask me how I'm feeling.
Don't ask me how I'm feeling.
Ask what I'm thinking.
How about we get back to some thoughts and some ideas rather than feeling and gender? How about that?
Yeah, but we live in such a comfortable time that we can sit here
Might not be comfortable for long.
bang. No, I don't think it's going to be, and it's going to be very interesting. How's all that woke shit going over in a land war in Europe?
Yeah.
That's going to be the first to go, and then all of a sudden, when the hordes are coming over the hill with 50 cal weapons, I think a bit of toxic masculinity is going to be
craved.
Then the old Schwarzenegger movies, all the rest of it. Oh yeah, that's a great idea.
No. Let's put all the woke people up front and see how long it takes before they piss their pants and run, or don't even show up.
It's war. Everyone's going to piss their pants, but yeah, it's.
I'm sure I'd pee my pants too, but.
Yeah,
none of them even want to do anything.
No.
You're going to have to at some point.
At some point you might have put your money where your mouth is.
Anyway.
And, yes, anyway.
So did they vote on the motion or not?
Yes, and of course it didn't go through.
Right, okay.
But the motion itself...
And then they moved on to another pressing issue.
What was it?
E-scooters.
Well, in all fairness, it's another one of. But that's much more.
That is in their purview.
Yeah, so, and it is another one of. And it is another one of the barrows that Louise pushes.
And that guy that died, the guy that I didn't remember from school, died on an e-scooter.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, look, but I'll just say one thing before we move on to that very briefly, and then move on with our lives. I mean, they're all generally things that council should be debating, but not necessarily in this particular way. Like issues over public change rooms and who's going into them and all the rest of it, is within the council's purview if it is their thing. And somebody getting up and saying, "Look, how about we have men, women, and other," which, as much as you want to argue, does match biology a bit closer than, oh no, you're a woman now or you're a man now, because of the fact that people will find it uncomfortable, or it may be both the person going into the toilet and the people already in the toilet. I did remember that other guy going, I enjoy
yeah,
unisex toilets
because I talk to people, I meet people,
because I meet all these interesting people. It's like, okay,
dude, are you cottaging on your weekends? I don't know what's going on there, but
I have limited experience in female bathrooms, mainly cleaning them when I was a kid and had a job. But I'll tell you how male bathrooms work.
I've been in the male bathroom.
You keep your eyes front, buddy. You walk in.
So I'm that chick when the line's really long that I go, fuck this, I'm going into the men's.
Yeah.
I have done that on numerous occasions, and it usually takes, I've usually got to really go. And yeah, I'm the one who walks in and says, "Incoming, gentlemen," and goes straight to the... But yeah, so there's no talking, there's no chit-chat.
No.
There's no meeting people.
When you're drunk at the...
Women talk.
When you're drunk at the urinal, there is much etiquette. I was going to say the only time there's talking is when you're drunk at the urinal. Otherwise, if you go into a urinal at 1:00 in the afternoon into a public gentleman's convenience, and you try and strike up a conversation with another man,
you're going to hit the face. You're
not going to get hit in the face, but you're going to be ignored. If you're like got your prick in one hand and oh, nice to meet you, you will have a negative physical reaction from the other guy. It's just you're going in there to men don't like talking on the phone. Well, like, what do you
I'm
think
a
they're
man
going?
when it comes to that anyway. You've said
Just
this before.
go and
I'm the
take a piss.
quickest peer in the
Oh
world.
yeah, you piss quicker than I do.
Yeah.
I don't know how you get your pants off.
Yeah.
Quick enough. Because I will walk straight.
out.
You and I will walk straight in the toilet at the same time. I'll have my prick out, piss, and walk out, and you're already there. And I'm going, how the fuck, maybe my prostate is getting a little worn.
But again, you're not,
as I get older.
You're not there to have a chit chat. You're there to do a.
So anyway, that was
strange. Even I went.
It was nerves. Like
Yeah,
it was like people say strange things when they're in the stand, and I'm sure he doesn't. I'm sure he's not going in there and hosting dinner parties and trying to meet new and interesting people.
But I don't have a problem. Again, maybe it's because I'm now right wing. I don't know. I don't have a problem with male, female, unisex.
I don't have a problem, so for the record, I don't have a problem with male, female, unisex. And if you pass in transgender terms, like if you genuinely pass, all right, you're a biological male, you produce small gametes, but you're Blair White.
Stunner.
Use the ladies. Because you will go
that's
in,
weird.
you will go in, you will use the ladies. No one else,
Will notice.
unless you've all got a fucking sixth sense, but I don't know. But if you genuinely pass,
pee together either. Remember, females have cubicles.
You go into a store,
There's
you come
door.
out, you wash your hands, you leave.
Yeah.
And then you might fuck around and natter.
You guys are the ones where you have to pull out a bit that should match.
Do you know how many dicks I've seen at the urinal in this life? A handful.
I know, because you're not looking.
Because you're not looking. There is an etiquette involved, and the only time you might be looking at each other's pricks is when you're drunk and you stumble.
Yeah.
And
accidentally pee on
and
someone's shoes.
that's another way you'll get a punch in the face. And the other thing is, you'll come in there and you'll be standing there and there'll be fucking 3 guys on either side of you, 6'4" fucking cocks like racehorses, and you're there with your little brick and you. Bit of stage fright here, fellas. You might, if you're a bit nervous, you might funny. Sort of, make a joke or something. Because if you feel there's if that's literally the elephant in the room, you're standing there, you can't piss, you might make a joke or something.
But if you look like Blair White, then you should be going into the ladies. And if you look like
Buck Angel,
I was going to say, who's the equivalent? Buck Angel, you should be going into the men's because.
You'll cause a commotion.
If you go the other way.
And I recommend you guys both look up Blair White and Buck Angel, the trans people. You wouldn't think for a second. And that's the thing, and I think that's how it's going. But if you're trying to be a woman and you got a 5 o'clock shadow, use the.
If you're clearly
use the
a
disabled
big dude
toilets.
in a dress. And you walk into the bathroom with me, I'm going to have a problem.
Yeah, I think it also comes down to.
But as I said, women go into cubicles though, so it's a little bit different.
Well, I was going to also add that if you go in, if your intentions are pure,
you're there to pee or poop.
I'm there to pee. I'm there to miturate or defecate.
I haven't heard that word before. Urinate, miturate. No. What was the first one?
Miturate. That's another word for urinate. Huh. That if you're going in there to do that, and you might be a bloke in a frock. I can only speak from the men's point of view, right? If you're a bloke in a frock and you go into the men's toilets and you're just going in there for a piss and all the rest of it, everyone's just like, yeah, okay, interesting sartorial choices. Yeah, I don't know, but if you see a bloke,
I think that would be more. They should be in the women's. If you're wearing a dress, go to the women's.
Yeah, but if you're,
But you don't.
If you're a blokey bloke in a dress, that's where it's difficult. But anyway, the point I'm very poorly making. If you're going in there with one thing in mind, which is just to deal with the call of nature, you're in and out. You don't get a creepy vibe. If you're striding in to prove a point, then people are going to react that way.
And it's the same for people who, male and female too. If you're being weird, people will have a problem.
Yeah, there's weird. You can be perfectly cisgendered in the correct bathroom, and you can be
creepy.
Weird. Yeah, so you definitely get that with people that are mentally fucking nuts or off their balls on drugs.
So women, you'll go in. I'm usually got my bitch face on. because, again, I'm not there to chit-chat. I'm there to pee and get out. But, yeah, women will make eye contact at the hand basins as they're washing their thing and will chat if there's a line. Women will make small talk.
Men never.
No, I didn't assume so.
Never.
Yeah.
Never. We're not interested. Get the fuck out of
the
the
last
way.
time at Melbourne Airport where I was getting annoyed because women are fucking idiots, and they take so long. That's why, again, I'm not female when it comes to peeing. Like, I'm like, what are you doing in there?
Yeah.
Like, they go in and they never come out, and I'm standing there in the line.
Get some more fibre in your diet, or just...
I don't know what they're doing, honestly. I'm waiting in the line and there's 2 open doors and no one's in there. And there's 3 people ahead of me in the queue. And I kind of go, is anyone going in those 2? And, you know, the lady in front of me goes, oh, no. The cleaner even walked into them and went, oh, no, and backed out. So, no, like, there must be some kind of carnage in there. And we all go,
crying in the bowl.
And we're like, okay.
All right, fair enough.
But, yeah, there's no chit-chat, really.
No.
Anywho.
Yeah, so... Anyway, so Hobart Council's a bit weird. Some of the councillors are a bit weird.
Cure for insomnia if you need it. Go and watch it.
Definitely a cure for insomnia.
The only other thing that crossed my desk this morning, which I helpfully commented on Facebook, was my sister put up a video of a Woolworths employee in Toowoomba getting belted in the face.
Oh, yeah.
A girl at
That's not great. What for?
Don't know. There's no sound and there's only a snippet, and I helpfully commented that...
Was it a male beating the female?
No, it was a female. It was a
Girl
rough
on girl
nut
action?
female whacking a female Woolworths employee at the self-serve checkouts, and there's only a snippet of about 5 seconds, and a man tries to step in and grab the rough nut chick, but she's already taken off. And again, there's no sound and it's only 5 seconds, and I helpfully commented that clearly that's not ideal, but what was said, and what happened, because I've had retail people who seem to think that they are in a magic bubble and they can say whatever they want and there's no consequences for what they've said. So again, this girl, you can see her kind of, she must be like, she's like pointing like this, and so she must have had some interaction with this person and is trying to tell her to leave the store or whatever. But I need more information. And then
absolutely. 5 seconds is complete.
Yeah, comes back and belts her.
Here, I'm like, should be no reason to put hands on someone in a fucking supermarket.
No. But I'm like...
Yeah, what was said? More data required.
Yeah. Because, that's not a normal reaction.
No.
So
anyway, so that's the podcast for today. Hilariously, we've done 52 minutes. Time flies when you're bitching about Hobart councils. But anyway, we just thought it was amusing.
You were meant to be a non-bitching today.
I don't think I've bitched too much. I certainly haven't wished all Tasmanian businesses to die. I saw, on that note, that Zep's place in Campbelltown, not Campbelltown, has gone broke, where they've... Where they're... I can't read the articles, they're all behind paywalls.
So annoying. Yeah.
But, and at some point, for your benefit, dear listener, I'm going to have to...
Trawler, whatever it is.
Well, either write something to get around it, or stop being so cheap and spend some money. But they're bloody expensive for what they are.
There's a couple of bots on YouTube that are doing that, which is great. And so,
I will come back to Zeps.
Sorry, yes, they basically summarise the whole video in a comment, which was really good.
Oh, okay.
I've noticed that it started. Especially when they're trying to tell you about steps to do things, they'll actually just pull it all out and shove it in a comment. I'm like, happy days. Anyway, back to Zeps.
If it was the 70s, you'd be right up there in Reader's Digest, wouldn't you? The new Reader's Digest is in.
Shut up. Anyway.
1,000 pages that some author has painstakingly worked on.
Blinkist.
Does the same thing. Yeah.
Summarises books into 15 minutes. I knew you'd love it. I don't have a subscription. It costs too much.
Good.
I did the trial.
I forbid you.
I did the trial, the 7-day trial.
Oh, really?
I didn't like it.
No.
Yeah.
It's an American thing. Anyway, no, this Zeps thing...
which is a coffee shop.
Yeah, it's a coffee shop.
And was always full of people.
Yeah, it's doing quite well, but what's amusing, which this just shows a lack of good accounting advice. Again, I haven't read the article. I can only read a bit of it.
Search for it on Facebook.
They were complaining about getting hit up with payroll tax, and that's what's done them.
You have to pay.
So but this,
What's it called? Zeps?
yeah, ZEPS.
Zeps.
This is big news in Tasmania. A single cafe goes tats up, and oh my god,
Can't even find it.
I don't know what the threshold is with payroll tax in Tasmania, but to me, any business that is up for payroll tax is usually doing very well. That's
Yeah,
why
I was going to say, isn't there a
there's
level?
a threshold. So back in the good old days, your payroll had to be more than $1 million a year in New South Wales to actually attract payroll tax.
Yeah.
So I mean, if a cafe's got a big payroll, so then
Steep cost of the state payroll tax.
yeah, and they're a state tax, and they're things that come up with anything other than pretty small businesses.
But yeah, I can't read it because Jesus.
Yeah. So anyway,
Right.
so yes, that's more. I think more businesses going broke. That's on a whole other rant. It's like, guys, if you want to deal with inflation, you have to let some bit of the air out of the balloon, and the only way you let air out of the balloon is people going broke.
Last Saturday. Oh, there you go. So they've put up basically an obituary on their page. So September 2000 to February 2023. So they're open for 23 years.
Pay your taxes.
6 days ago.
Not 6 days ago. Well, this is the alacrity we expect from the local press.
Yeah.
I'll have to look. I'll have to actually read some more about it. What made me think of that? I was just compared to yesterday's podcast where all I was doing was
So
going,
done and dusted.
Tasmanian
They've closed the
businesses
doors,
decide
have
to
they?
die. We do not know enough. It
No,
does
they
seem
have.
like,
They're done.
Yeah.
Good luck on your next venture. Blah 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 blah. But again, yeah. Well,
But that's the other thing.
Well, I'm sorry. If you can't afford to pay, then you shouldn't be open.
Yeah. And
You don't get a free ride. I don't get a free ride.
no. So there's that. There's also a thing of, which I've always been the case of. If the business becomes unviable, shut it down.
Which is
And move on to something
Yeah,
else.
next.
Next. All right. So as I hope at some point our bar becomes unprofitable. In which case we go, okay, well we shut it down because it's not profitable anymore, and there's a fair chance of that. So
Nothing lasts
I will say this to
forever.
camera of anyone that wants to clip and try and cancel us. If you cancel us and make no one come to the bar, you are doing us a favour. And I encourage you to do it because I'm sick to death of the damn thing. Oh, this bloody right-wing cooker with his views on his stupid thing is like spouting hate on his platform of 16 subscribers. It's like,
It's not
yeah,
hate.
you'd be doing me a favour. Honestly, thanks, please.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So Zeps. Well, I've never been in there.
I tried to buy a coffee in there once.
Coffee's not great in Tasmania either. There's plenty of shops.
It's all right.
I'm not a coffee drinker, so actually I have no comment.
You get much the same thing out of a dollar machine from Coles. There's a couple of places in town. Couple might be an exaggeration. Generally, if you go to a decent coffee shop here, you'll get a pretty good cup of coffee. I'm not too fussed on that.
Okay.
But
right.
yeah,
They obviously didn't have a good accountant because.
Hey, by the way, mate. Well, you either don't have a good. We need to read more about it.
I know nothing about the story I'm talking about.
But the reason presented was the payroll
and that
tax.
might not be true.
And that might not be true.
People put up lots of different things
but
to
let's
save
say,
face.
Oh, but that was from the reporter. So let's for a moment assume let's assume it was because of payroll tax.
Yeah.
You're either completely and utterly ignorant of what payroll tax is, because any small business you want a structure to avoid taxes, not to evade, but to avoid. Like, so you go, right,
How can I best make this viable?
how can I best make this viable by avoiding these following taxes? Because a lot of them are bloody voluntary. If you're dumb enough to, have a...
Fuck me. So yeah, the threshold in Tasmania for payroll tax.
Yeah, what is it?
Right now, 1st of July 2022 to 31 June 2023, 1.25 million to 2 million is 4%.
Yeah. Is that all?
2 million and above is 6.1%.
Right. Okay, so they've put a bit of a thing in it. I remember back in the day when I had my first software company, and at one point we never really got anywhere near it, but it was $1 million in 1990s money, which was plenty of money, but the tax rate was like 14% or something. I remember, I might be completely wrong, but it was high. That's when company tax was a lot higher than it
Lower
was now,
threshold
too.
in Victoria.
So if you've got a cafe and you've got a payroll of over
$1
$1 million,
million,
you're smashing it. And
that's what I mean. What the?
how on earth?
Yeah,
That's a lot of.
$1.25 million is the base.
That's a lot of staff for a cafe.
Yeah.
That's
As I said, it was always packed.
Well, and then it should be then increase your margins, because once you get near that, it's like, okay, we're going to have to put everything up 5%, 4% to carry the tax, 1% to carry the extra paperwork overhead. So we put everything up 5%. At the moment, inflation's running at God knows how many percent. No one's going to notice if you put your prices up 5%.
No. Wow. Yeah, 1.25 million. So she's got.
So
your Hayley is the name of the person.
Your cup of coffee. If it's $4 for a cup of coffee, we're talking what, $4.20.
Yeah. Why? I don't understand how you can't make that work. I don't understand how big that fucking payroll is. Because it's not very big. Like, it's not a. It's not. I'm trying to find an equivalent cafe size. It's not McDonald's. Like, it's a on the main road cafe. It's not huge. Like, it's not 300 square meters and you've got 300 people in there.
But that's again how you do it. I mean, do you take?
They're taking perks.
Are you taking a? Yeah, well, that's it. Take it as perks. Well,
directors' fees.
Does it involve a director? They try and stop you for doing stuff like that.
That's
so
considered
maybe
taxable wages.
Maybe does it say that? Yep. Directors' fees.
Yep.
Well, how much money do you need to take out of it? Well, don't take as much.
Well, take it slowly.
Well, that's it too. You're allowed to avoid tax, and anyone who doesn't avoid tax needs their head read.
Wages paid to sick or staff, fringe benefits, employer, value in kind, contractor payments, superannuation contributions.
All I say is, if a company becomes unviable,
then it's unviable.
And shut it down.
Dry.
And if you're in the very fortunate position to not have a 7-year lease that you're still on the hook for, that if you're still on the hook for leases and
that sucks.
Loans and things, well, that sucks. But that's a part of capitalism.
It's
you take
business.
Yeah, you should take a measured, informed risk to try and get a particular kind of reward, and you should only take as much risk as that what you have.
Lose.
Yeah, that what you have the appetite for. It's like how much. So what have we got in here? Are we betting the farm on this? Are we betting our necks, or are we just putting a bit of let's just set aside? Are we betting a car on it? What are we putting in the pot?
They've been going for 23 years. Surely they would have figured this out by now.
So who knows? But yeah, it seems a bit odd. But anyway, so yes, that was Tasmanian businesses deserve to go broke. Not all of them, only the ones that annoy me. That was yesterday. I don't think I've been too negative today. I'm certainly smiling.
The only thing I'll say is, wasn't the expose from the Australian Tax Office about the hospitality industry here, Tasmania based as well, where they weren't paying people properly?
Well, that's it. Is that what's taken the stuffing out of it? At some point, it's if they looked at it and they go, you owe fucking 10 years back pay on super and things like that.
23 years worth of superannuation. Maybe.
That is, we are not alleging that.
No, I am not alleging that, but that will be a problem if you're not doing things properly.
Well, that's it. That's why
and
on the face of it,
get a wee.
Yeah, on the face of it, if you're, because that's what you and I are saying, and we are meticulous with setting aside money
to the point of being annoying, yeah.
But there's no surprises, is there? Right? So we're meticulous into putting money aside and making sure. So when you see what's in their bank account for a company, you look at it and you go, that is, to the best of my knowledge, how much liquid this firm has available to it, and then you can make decisions based on it. Not, I've got $80,000 in the bank, and $350,000 in tax liabilities. No, you don't have that. That's in a separate account. It's sitting there. You don't take that into account when making your decisions. So that's why you and I are having a difficulty with,
why don't you know what's going on in your business?
You should see that coming.
Yeah.
Because any accountant, the worst accountant in the world or in Australia will tell you, mind your payroll because you're getting pretty close to doing it. So that's if you're blissfully unaware of your obligations. But then the problem we're having is okay, so next financial year your your taxes are going to go up 4 or 5%. Well, you're going to have to
raise things.
You're going to have to raise your prices. You're going to have to make a decision. You need to find another 4 or 5%. Where does it come from? Do you pass that on to the consumer, or do you take it in the neck? They're your two choices, or a bit of both.
Or do you scale back your operation slightly so
To
that
try
you
and
don't
get out of it.
to get under control, and then you don't have so much staff,
If you
and you
can.
don't blah blah blah. And
Or do you just go, all right, we
or
can't.
I've had enough for 23 years, and I think it's time for me to call it quits and go and fish. Like.
Yeah. I don't know. But that's the thing. But the point that I was making that I hadn't quite gotten through, like, that's us. And that's why you go, well, it doesn't make any sense. But if you've got a whole heap of other liabilities that you've accumulated, well...
But that's dumb.
Well, then that's probably dumb. But, you know. But anyway, so there we go. So
I wonder what's going to fill its spot, or it's just going to sit empty. Because is there another... I don't even know. Is there another coffee shop? There's a Subway. There's a petrol station. There's a JJ's.
We're talking of a town of... What's the population of
3.
Campbelltown? 9.
Campbell Town.
There's 14 people that live there. Like, it's just a
thoroughfare on the way
It's
to
a
Hobart.
drive-through town. It's
a pea stop.
It's not even... Yeah, it's about Holbrook between New South... You haven't done the Hume Highway trip as much as I have. Holbrook is roughly halfway between Sydney and Melbourne, and there's an Oberon-class submarine in a park there. So
it's Berry on the way down the south coast.
I hate Berry.
Berry's bigger.
So, the call back to the beginning of the conversation, they're on the list. They gave me... They nearly fucking killed me with a poison hot dog in 1986.
All right, an hour and 6, let's go.
Yes, absolutely.
It's too long. People are bored. I'm bored.
Everybody's bored. All right, so...
good evening. No, good morning.
Good morning. Oh, yeah. Well, speaking of taxes, we have our taxes to do now.
Yeah.
So we are going to change gears, and I'm going to upload this to the ether, and then I'm going to sit
Activity
here.
statements for me. Whee!
Yeah. I'm at least going to do my income for last financial year, because we've left it so late. But we know what we're doing, and we know we're leaving it late, and it's nobody else's fault but us.
Ours.
And we'll get it done. Our accountant hasn't started yelling at us yet. I'm pretty sure the deadline's kind of April, because that's the problem with us. We have too many things.
Can we stop talking now?
Yes, we can stop talking now. Watch out, my children. I haven't said a thing.
Quick.
Watch out. Off you go, my children. Watch out for wolves.
How do you make it stop?